Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Okay, kita berjumpa lagi di dalam lessons 06 week 7, new lessons for this week. Okay, so this is part 1 of lesson 06 week 7. Alright, titles of the lessons is displaying data from multiple tables. Okay, so in this lessons we are going to join two different tables and get the outputs of the data by displaying the data based on the multiples table. Okay, so without further ado, for this part 1, okay, let's start from the beginnings. Okay, so this topics is lesson 6 week 7. Right, displaying data from multiple tables. So means kita akan display data from different tables. Okay, before this we are going kita dah gunakan satu table je. So basically based on one table. So for these examples, okay, for this lesson we are going to use two different tables. Okay, so the objectives for these lessons. Number 1, you write a select statement to access data from more than one table using the equijoins and also non-equijoins. Okay, I will explain later. Alright, so maybe for part 1, I will cover only this objective. So the rest, join a table to itself using a self joins and also view data that generally does not meet a join conditions. Right, by using outer joins and also a Cartesian products. Right, so this is maybe part 2 later. Okay, for the lessons. Okay, so let's continue to the next slides. Okay, so lessons agenda for today. Right, so as I mentioned earlier, right, so this is part 1. Right, so this one is part 2 for these lessons. Right, so part 1 is the types of joins and its syntax, natural join using clause and also on clause. Okay, so let's proceed to the next one. Alright, so obtaining data from a multiple tables. Alright, so I think before this, I'm sure that you already learned database subjects, and then you also learn how to join from two different tables. Okay, so for these examples, let's say we have a table number 1 is employee, table number 2 is a department. Right, so as usual, when we want to join two different tables, okay, the main criteria that we need to identify is number 1 is primary key, okay, number 2 is foreign key. Okay, right, number 2 is a foreign key. Right, so these two key that we need to identify and also we need to locate in the tables. Okay, so for this example, let's say we have a table names as employee. So in these tables, we can see that they have an employee ID. Alright, so this is can consider as a primary key, okay, PK for the employee tables. And we have another tables, departments, and we can see here is a department, you can see here is a department name, department names and also department ID. So department ID is a primary key for table department, and of course when we put department ID in the different tables, okay, so this is what we call as a foreign key. Why we call it as a foreign key? Because this department is basically is a foreign items for table employee. So that's why kunci ini kunci asing. Okay, so this department ID is actually comes from here, right, department ID. Alright, so this is primary key, and when we put in the different table, we call it as a foreign key. So two different attributes. So number one is a primary key for their own table, and number two is foreign key because they are foreign to the table of employee. So in this example, let's say we want to display employee ID, department ID, and also department name. Okay, so the results is come out something like this. Okay, this is the employee ID, this is the department ID, and this is the department names. Okay, so we can display any column that we want. It doesn't matter. It's based on our selections. If let's say you want to select all, it will display all here. Okay, it's up to us, right? So which one we want to display. But for this exercise and for these lessons, we want to talk about how to join these two tables. Okay. Okay, so how to join? Okay, normally we need to, of course, number one is we need to create entity relationships diagram. Okay, I repeat again, okay, I repeat again. So this is for just to review back what happened in these lessons. Okay, so as usual, okay, here we have data. And then after that we have information. Okay, and then we create a database. Okay, so in this database, of course, we can have more than one table. So if let's say we have more than one table, okay, this is our relationships. Okay, based on the different tables, and this is our ERD. Okay, so this is our ERD. So in ERD we have an entity here, relationships here, and this is the diagram. This is diagram. So of course, when we talk about ERD, we need to join the tables using the relationships. Alright, so go back to this one. Alright, so if let's say for this example, like you see in the previous slides, right? Okay, so let's say this is our table. Okay, this is another example. Let's say this is lecturer, this is to student. Alright, so if let's say table lecturer and table student have relationships, okay, we need to determine the relationships. Okay, in these situations, maybe lecturer teach student. Alright, so maybe lecturer teach student. Okay, and then student teach by. Okay, student teach by. Okay, if let's say we go back around. Okay, so lecturer teach by student teach by lecturer. Okay, so in these situations, of course, we need to identify number one. Okay, based on the normalization also, we need to identify primary key. So for example, in these situations, okay, we have a lecturer ID. So student, in this case, let's say we have a student ID. Alright, so this can be considered as a primary key. This is also a primary key. So in these situations, okay, where do we want to put a foreign key? Alright, so if let's say we have a lecturer ID here, can we put lecturer ID here? Can we put student ID here? The answer is both yes, but normally it depends on the situations. Okay, in these situations, for example, lecturer is the dominant table. Okay, so student is the dependent table. So it is better, okay, you put lecturer ID or maybe student ID inside the table. Okay, so in these situations, okay, maybe suitable to put student ID inside the lecturer ID. Alright, or it can be a way around. Okay, depends on the situation. If let's say you want to put lecturer ID inside the table student, so we put here as a lecturer ID. So this can be considered as a foreign key. This is also can be considered as a foreign key. So up to us. Alright, so which one? So in this situation, we need to identify which one is dominant, which one is dependent. Alright, depends on the table itself. Okay, so go back to the slide. So in this case, So we need to make sure at least we have one foreign key for these two tables, either in the tables lecturer or in the tables student. Alright, so we need to identify at least one foreign key here. Okay, so go back to the slides. Okay, so in these situations, okay, we can see that employee is a foreign key, foreign primary key. This is primary key, and this is foreign key. So employees and also department. Okay, so department ID and employee ID. This is primary key. This is primary key, and this is foreign key. So because departments is dependence on employee. Alright, so employees is the main table. So this is the dominant table. So department ID we put here as a foreign key. Okay, let's move to the next one. Alright, so for types of joins, alright, so joins that are compliant with the SQL 1999 standard includes the following. Okay, number one is a natural joins. Okay, for today, natural join. Alright, using clause and also on clause. Alright, so let's move to the next one. Okay, so joining table using SQL 1999 syntax. Okay, use the join to query data from more than one table. Okay, so in these situations, in the Oracle, okay, the keyword here is join. So we are going to use the keyword here is join. Alright, so it differs from the previous one. Maybe if let's say you learn about DB2, Microsoft Access, it's different. It's a bit different. So the way how they join the tables is different. So in these situations, we are going to use joins. Okay, so let's say for example, in these situations, table 1's column denotes that the table and the column from which the data is retrieved. Okay, if let's say we have something like this, okay, we know that this is the table name and this is the column name from this table. Right, so the next one, natural join. Natural joins join two tables based on the same column. Okay, what it means? Based on the same column. So in our example previously, okay, we have here is we have department ID, and in this table also we have a department ID. So this is what we call as the same column name. Inside the main tables is also department ID, and as a foreign key also they call it as a department ID. Okay, so join two tables. Join table 2 using columns name. Perform an equijoins on the columns names. Okay, equijoins meaning that this is based on the same column name. Alright, and then the next one, join table on table 1 column name equals to table 2 column name. Perform an equijoin based on the conditions in the on clause. Okay, so this is what we call as we create the join using the on. Okay, so we later we will see the examples. Okay, and the next one, and maybe this is for part 2 later. Part 2, left outer join, full outer join, cross join. Okay, because of we want to join from two tables. Okay, so for part 1 we concentrate on this syntax first. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Alright, qualifying ambiguous columns name. Okay, number 1, use table prefix to qualify column names that are in the multiples tables. Okay, so we need to use table prefix. Okay, table prefix. Okay, if let's say we can simplify the names of the table. Let's say tables student. So just call it as a table S. Okay, you can see the example later. Okay, to qualify column names that are in the multiples table. Okay, if let's say we have more than one table, so we can identify straightforward. Okay, number 2, use table prefix to improve performance. Okay, when we talk about prefix, it make it the names of the tables is going to be shorter, right? And if let's say we put a short name, hopefully we can improve the performance. Okay, instead of full table's name prefix, use table alias. So we can also use a table alias. Okay, we change the table's names, all right, to the different names. Okay, table alias. If let's say the names of the table is students, okay, we change as a S, students, S only. Okay, so we can make it simple. All right. And table alias give a tables a shorter names. Okay, this is the example. Okay, student, we just write as S. Okay, this is what we call as a column alias. Okay, or table alias. Okay, keep SQL code smaller, use less memory. And the next one, use column alias to distinguish column that have identical names but resides in the different table. Okay, let's move to the next slides. Okay, so the next one is natural join using clause and also on clause. Okay, for this part one. Okay, so for creating a natural joins, the natural join clause is based on all columns in the two tables that have the same name matching. Right, so the two tables is based on all columns in the two tables that have the same names matching. Okay, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, in table number 1, this is table number 2. Okay, if let's say here we have student ID. Okay, this is primary key, and we have another student ID here. Okay, this is a foreign key. So we can use this as a natural join. Okay, because in these examples we have the same names matching for the columns. Okay, this columns is also called as a student ID. This column also called as a student ID, but one is primary key and another one is foreign key. So we can use these examples because to use the natural join because this is based on all columns in the two tables. Okay, this is table number 1, this is table number 2 that have the same matching names. Okay, number 1 is student ID, number 2 is also student ID. Okay, it selects row from the two tables that have equals value in all match columns. Okay, so they will select the row from the two tables that have equals value. The value is same in all match column. If let's say column student ID and also this is column student ID, it will match and then they have an equals value, then it will select the row. Okay. Then number 3, if the columns having the same names have different data types, an error is returned. Okay, what is mean? Column have the same name but have a different data types. Okay, listen carefully. Alright, in these situations, if let's say, okay, this is table number 1. Okay, this is table number 2. Let's say, for example, this is student ID. This is also student ID. This is primary key. This is foreign key. Okay, but the problem is, if let's say when we design the database, we maybe we put a different data types for both columns. Okay, let's say for these examples, in this column for the primary key, we put the data types is a number. Okay, the data types for this column student ID is a number, but for this column in as a foreign key in the different tables, okay, so maybe you put the data types is equals to character. Okay, so in these situations, right, if let's say you can see number and character is a two different data types. Okay, data types number 1 is a number, data type number 2 is a character. So in this situation, it will create error. Okay, it will produce error and an error will occur. So what should we do? Okay, So normally, when we talk about primary key and also foreign key, we must have these data types, okay, the same names, a same data type. If let's say here we put number, okay, in this table we must put number also. So we must make sure that the data types for both columns, for the primary key and also for the foreign key, have a same column name, have the same data type, right? So if let's say if the columns have the names, have the same names, okay, both is student ID, but have a different data types, okay, one number, another one is a character, and error is written. Okay, so please make sure, please be careful. When we design the ERD, entity relationships diagram, please make sure we double check against all the names and the names of the columns, the data types, everything. Alright. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, if let's say in these examples, in the example, the locations table, the location tables, the names of this table location is joined to the department table by the location ID. So mean that location ID is primary key and also foreign key. Okay, primary key for table location, foreign key in the department table. Okay, alright. So if in these situations, okay, which is the only columns of the same name, right? So this is the column that have the same names in both table. If other column were present, the join would have used them all. Okay, so we can use the keyword here is a natural join. Natural join. Okay. If let's say we fulfill all these rules. Okay. Right. So in this example, we can see that okay, select department ID, department names, location ID, city, from department, natural join, locations. Okay, so in this example, if we can see, department is a table, location is a table. Okay, this is table number 1, this is table number 2. We can use straightforward the keywords natural join, because we know that both table have have the same columns, or the columns names as location ID. Okay, one is primary key, another one is a foreign key. Primary key inside table location, foreign key inside table department. So in this situation, we can just straightforward use the keywords natural join. Okay, right. So in this situation, we try to display 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. From the table departments and also from the tables joins. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, creating joins with the using clause. Okay, this is natural joins. Okay, then we can use the using clause here. Okay, if several columns have the same names but the data types do not match. Okay, they have the same names but data types do not match. Like the previous example. Okay, we must in the first situation we must make sure data types is both the same. But in this case, let's say the data types do not match. Okay, natural join can apply using the using clause to specify the columns that should be used for an equijoin. Okay, so we can use the words using, the words using here. Okay, use the using clause to match only one column when more than one column match. Right, so we can use the keyword using. Okay, the next one, natural join and using clause are mutually exclusive. Okay, number 1 is natural join based on the previous slides, and this one is a clause are mutually exclusive. Okay, let's move to the next slides to see the examples. Okay, joining a column's name here. Alright, so we have a department ID, employees, we have a departments here, and we have a department ID. Alright, so this is a foreign key because this is primary key for this table. Alright, so this is the primary key, this is the foreign key. Alright, and we will have a relationship here. Okay, the relationships between the employees and department tables is an equijoin. That is, value in the department ID column in both table must be equal. Okay, so please make sure the value is here. Value must be equal, meaning that nilai dia mesti sama. If let's say here we have 1, 10 until 90, here also we must have 10 until 90. The value must be the same or equals. Alright, so let's move to the next one. Okay, so in the examples, the department ID columns in the employees and the department tables are joined, and thus the location ID of the department where an employee works is shown. Alright, so we can select employee ID, last name, location ID, department ID. From table 1 is employee, join. Okay, previously we are using natural join, but in this situation we just only using the words join. Okay, table names as department using department ID. Okay, so this is the column. This is the column that is primary key and also a foreign key from both table, employee and also department. So in these situations, we can use the keyword here is join, and also using the previous one we are using natural join. Okay, natural join. We just simply put natural join without using without the words using. Just put natural join. But in this situation, we must put join, and join must match with using, the keyword using. Okay, so this is all the example based on the selection here. Alright, so move to the next one. Okay, using table aliases with the using clause. Okay, do not qualify a column that is used in the using clause. Okay, if the same columns used elsewhere in the SQL statements, do not alias it. Okay, so please make sure if let's say the same column used elsewhere in the SQL statement, do not alias it. Okay, do not qualify a column that is used in the using clause. Alright, so it will create an error. Alright, so please be careful. Alright, so remove here. Okay, using location ID. Okay, the next one, so we cannot use using table alias with the clause. Okay, the next one. Create joins with the on clause. Alright, the join conditions for the natural join is basically an equijoin of all columns with the same name. Okay, another one is a join, natural join, but we are using the on clause. Okay, the first one is natural join, second one is using, the third one is on clause. Okay, use the on clause to specify arbitrary conditions or specify column to join. Okay, we need to identify which column that we want to join. Okay, so in this situation we use the words on. Okay, the join condition is separated from other search conditions, and the on clause makes code easy to understand. Alright, so the third one is on. Okay, let's move to the next slides. Okay, in these examples, the department ID columns, the employees and the department tables are joined using the on clause. Okay, wherever a department ID in the employee tables equals the department ID in the department tables. Okay, both table, employee and also department, the rows is returned. The table alias is necessary to qualify the matching column name. Alright. So in these examples, let's say you can see, okay, number one, we use we need to highlight which column that we want to display the output. Okay, so we have two tables here. Table number one is employee. Okay, we column alias it as E only. Alright, so this is the short names for employees, and another table is department. And then we make a column alias, table alias here. Table alias, make it short, and then we put D here. So E represent employee, D represent department. So in this situation, we are going to use the keywords here is join and on. Right, the keyword here is join and on. So in this examples, we can see that the joins comes from, number one is department ID. Okay, department ID in table E. E means employee. And another one is join using also department ID, because we need to satisfy the rule first. Okay, this is come from table D. D means department. Okay, so this is actually is a primary key, and this is a foreign key, because department ID is inside. If let's say this department ID inside table employee, this is foreign key. This is inside table department, and this is a primary key. So in these situations, so we join with the two columns, that's call it as a department ID. So this is the example here. Okay, so this department ID columns in the employee and also department. Okay, same rules as the previous one. Alright, so then we can using the keywords join and also on. Okay, so the statement is select employee ID. Okay, select last names, department ID, department ID, location ID from employee, table employee, join with the table department using on E department ID and also department using the column names as department ID. So the output will display here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, based on the selections of this SQL. Okay, I hope you can understand this. Right, so let's move to the next one. Okay, creating three-way joins with the on clause. Okay, we can join more than one table. In the previous example, we only joined two tables. So, but for this example, we can create, we can join more than two tables. In this example, maybe we can join three tables using the on clause here. Okay, so same as the previous one. Okay, select whatever we want to select. So in this case, we want to select employee ID, city, department names, right? From table employees, joins with the table department, right? Using what? Okay, on. Okay, the first one is on, but in this situation, we are using the words on clause, department ID, and also department ID. So this department ID comes from table employee. This department IDs come from table department. And we join the departments, this department. Okay, the first one we join employees with the department. So the second one we join department with location. Okay, so we have three different table here. Okay, so for departments and location, okay, we join using on based on the location ID and also location ID. This location ID is in the table location. This location ID is in the table department. Okay, so in this example, okay, just to make it short, and okay, it will look something like this. Okay. Okay, so this is department, employee. Okay, this is department, and this is locations. Okay, so for this one, we are going to use department ID. Okay, this is also department ID. Alright, so join here, and another one is we are using location ID. Okay, this is primary key, and we put the location ID here. Okay, let's say we put location ID here, so we join this location ID with the location ID. So we have three different tables. Okay, so employee join with the department using using department ID. Department join with the location using location ID and also location ID. So we have three different tables. Okay, alright. So we can put more than three. If let's say you want to join 4, it's also possible. Okay, let's move to this one. Okay, so hopefully you can understand. Okay, so this is how we can join. Okay, number 1, we are going to use natural joins. Number 2, the keyword is using. Number 3 is on. Right, so let's proceed to the next one. Okay, so this is another example here. Okay, just same as the previous one. Okay, select employee ID, location, city, department, and from table employees join with the department using the department ID, and the department join location using location ID. Okay, alright, so hopefully you can understand. Alright, okay, the next one. Okay, applying additional condition to the join. Alright, so we can put and also where clause to apply additional conditions. Alright, so for example, the rest is going to be the same. For this example, select employee. Okay, whatever you want to select. Okay, from employee join department on the department ID. This is primary key and also foreign key, and e-manager is equals to 149. So this is actually is a condition. Okay, we put a certain condition. So we want only manager ID equals to 149, or we can use another terms, we can use the words where. Okay, so look carefully. So this one we have to put manager ID inside this, inside the selection, because we are going to use the and clause here. But in this example, if let's say we use where, we no need to put manager ID here. Okay, so hopefully you can understand. So that's the difference when we are going to use the keyword and also where for these examples. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, so I think I will end part 1 here. Okay, so for the next one, self joins, non-equijoin, auto join, also Cartesian product, we will continue in part 2, lesson 0, 6, week 7. So, okay, with that, thank you very much. Okay, I'll see you again in part 2. Alright, lesson 06, part week 7. Alright, so with that, thank you very much. Okay, hope you can see again in part 2. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.